We are at Pam Evans Smith Arena on the campus of Wittenberg University. Back when winter was melting into spring, there were a whole bunch of teams lining up for the opportunity to be here in this place on this weekend. Well, from that massive number of kids through lots of practices and lots of games, 2 still remain in the Division II boys volleyball tournament. It's the St. Francis DeSales Stallions and the St. Vincent-St. Mary Fighting Irish to play for the Ohio High School Athletic Association Division II State Championship in boys volleyball. We're so glad that you've chosen to join us for this very special event on this Memorial Day weekend with Jackie Klein. I'm Chris Solwecki. And Jackie, we both got a chance to see these two teams yesterday. We know what they can do, but things change. Everything elevates just a little bit when the championship trophy is on the line and everybody knows it's right around the corner.
I think the exciting part today is I don't think we saw the full potential of both of these teams, and I think they're going to bring that full potential out of each other as this match starts. So today we're going to start with St. Vincent-St. Mary's and talk about maybe who we need to keep our eyes on, and that needs to be number 8, Riles Guzman. He's an outside hitter for the Fighting Irish, and he had 18 kills yesterday, hitting 395. That's telling you he's a very smart hitter. He's not just going up and hitting it as hard as he can. If he has an opportunity to tip or roll shot, he's going to take advantage of that, especially if it results in the point. But you know, St. Vincent-St. Mary's has more firepower than just Guzman.
Yes.
Winters isn't their second outside hitter. Wyziski is their opposite. And really Shivers, who is their setter, he loves to be a threat when he's in the front row also. So that just makes the offense easier because they can spread out the set selection, and it just makes it harder for DeSales to defend today.
Only 2 receiving errors the entire match last night for St. Vincent-St. Mary. So this is a team that does a really nice job not getting aced and getting into their offense on some level. It's those passes, those receiving passes to the setter that are going to be critical today.
Absolutely. Let's shift over to DeSales and talk about what we're going to see today from them. Yesterday, our focus was on number 7, senior Cameron Hoying. He's their 6'8" senior that is committed and signed to play for Lewis University. However, today is going to be the battle of outside hitters, and so we're going to keep our eyes on Evan Althouse. He's number 14. He's the outside hitter for the Stallions, and you know, he's really going to be the name we're going to say a lot today because really the ball needs to go to him more often. We'll see him attacking both from the outside pin and the right side pin, and then yesterday he was a major threat from the back row, running that pipe, that big set out of middle back. We didn't get to see DeSales, you know, bring it yesterday.
Right.
And today I think their level of play is going to have to increase significantly to handle the speed coming from St. Vincent-St. Mary's.
St. Vincent-St. Mary's won their matches 25-23, 25-23, and 25-15. DeSales beat Independence in 3 straights, 25-17, 25-14, 25-6. So to your point, they maybe took their foot off the gas, coasted a little bit. We didn't see their full, and so we will. We'll see it today for sure. And when you talk about Evan Althouse, that guy hit 435 in that match last night. Nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty good.
Definitely, and from the service line, they were attacking DeSales. We saw a lot of jump topspin serves. They weren't scared to bring the heat, so it'll be interesting to see if they tend to today bring that heat again, or if they're going to focus more on, you know, attacking a specific serve reception person over on St. Vincent-St. Mary's side.
And talking about serve receive and how important that is, Aaron Fermalon, who wears number 2 for St. Francis DeSales, Mike Walter, who wears number 2 for St. Vincent-St. Mary, 2 liberos who are going to be very, very important in today's match.
In boys volleyball, they like to hit the ball hard and fast, and blockers have to get good touches on the ball. So the ball is slowed down and they can dig it easier. Otherwise, it's coming real hard, real fast, and it's not always easy to dig.
Talk about a couple of keys for each of these teams coming into this matchup. We'll start with the St. Francis DeSales Stallions. What's a key or two for them today?
So I think serve receive for the Stallions has to be a tight pass, especially when Cameron Hoying, their setter, is front row. That's going to allow the Stallions to have that option of delivering the second ball to a hitter, you know, for them to swing on the third ball, or Cameron Hoying can just go ahead and dump it right away.
And then on the other side, let's talk about some keys for St. Vincent-St. Mary.
I think St. Vincent-St. Mary's has to establish their middle attacker early because DeSales knows Guzman is their firepower. So if they can establish the middle, get the ball to Wyziski on the right side and start initiating that spread of the block, they're going to keep DeSales blockers on their toes versus just camping out on Guzman.
Speaking of the block, DeSales only one block yesterday. That may be because of the way that Independence was attacking DeSales, a lot of things from far off the net, but that's certainly something to keep an eye on when you've got a decided size advantage. You want to take advantage of that at the net.
I agree with you. Yesterday we saw DeSales bring it more from the service line. Today we're going to see more blocking opportunities.
It's St. Francis DeSales, the Stallions versus St. Vincent-St. Mary, the Fighting Irish from Pam Evans-Smith Arena on the campus of Wittenberg University in the OHSAA inaugural OHSAA Division II Boys State Volleyball Championship. And we're just a moment away from our national anthem. And so we will step aside for just this timeout so that we can share in that experience together. And then we will come back for the starting lineups and we'll get this party started. The OHSAA Division II State Boys Volleyball Championship right after we pause to honor America. Our national anthem played and sung inside the arena. Our officials for today's match are Sterling Kaimekoko on the ladder. Mike Mers is on the floor. Thomas Hensley and Courtney Hoke are the line judges. So we will look forward to all four of them leading us as the officials for today's matchup. And of course, they are all OHSAA sanctioned and will serve very effectively in this state championship match. In fact, I learned something today that you get here in part because coaches vote on you. They respect the work that you've done all year long, and they give you a vote of confidence.
You're right. So when I coach in the girls' OHSAA season, every match I have to rate the official and how they did, yes.
Very cool. And I understand these are some of the best, so we're excited to have them be a part of today's event. Here are the starting lineups for today's matchup. First, for St. Francis DeSales, starting at libero, number 2, a 5'10 junior, Aaron Fermalon. Michael Hunsaker wears number 5. He's a middle blocker, and he's a 6'2 senior. Cameron Hoying is a setter, a 6'8 senior, and he wears number 7. Luke Gabrielli wears number 8. He's an oppo hitter, a 6'1 senior. Cameron White wears number 10. He's an outside hitter and a 5'11 senior. Zane Patterson wears number 13. He's a middle blocker and a 6'5 senior. And Evan Althouse, our player to watch, wears number 15. He's a 6'6" senior and an outside hitter. The head coach for St. Francis DeSales is Andy Feltz. The starting lineup for St. Vincent-St. Mary, starting at the libero position. Number 2, Mike Walter, a 6'2" junior. Brendan Shivers wears number 7. He's a 6-foot setter, and he's a junior. Riles Guzman is our player to watch. He wears number 8. He's an outside hitter and a 6'4" senior. Jason Walter wears number 10. He's a middle blocker and a 6'1" senior. Ethan Waziski wears number 16. Waziski is an oppo hitter. He's a 6'5" senior. Mason Winters wears number 21. He's an outside hitter, a 6'2" sophomore. And Aiden Gaffney wears number 25. He's a 6'1" middle blocker, and he's a junior. The head coach of St. Vincent-St. Mary is Logan Jennings. So we are just about set to get underway from Wittenberg University in the first inaugural ever state volleyball championship for the OHSAA in Division II. The Irish wearing green uniforms with gold trim today. Their libero wearing the opposite, a gold uniform with green numbers and letters on it. And for DeSales, they are wearing white uniforms with gray trim, or gray numbers outlined in black trim. And their libero, Aaron Fermalon, is wearing a purple jersey, and that signifies him as being a defensive specialist. We are just about set to get underway. Jackie, final thoughts before we serve this one up.
So yesterday, I went over to the Ox Gym where there were teams practicing in there, warming up, getting ready to go. But this was after St. Vincent-St. Mary's match. I expected them to be in there and hugging mom and dad. No, they were all playing volleyball still. So that's just telling you, St. Vincent-St. Mary's, these boys just love the game. They seem to really get along well with each other, and it's going to be fun to watch them play today.
That's outstanding. Gotta love the game. And it's great to watch these kids who don't just play because it's an opportunity to play, but they play because they love the opportunity to grow and learn and become better at their crafts.
Some of these boys over on St. Vincent-St. Mary's cut their hair overnight.
I was going to say, we've got a couple different looks over there. We've got a mohawk, we've got a shaved head, we've got a few interesting looks.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to look more at their numbers instead of their hairdos to remember who they were from yesterday.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't shave your head, honestly, Jackie.
I know. I should have. I should have put that temporary tattoo of DeSales on one side and then the Fighting Irish shamrock over on the other side.
That's the way to be balanced. I'm proud of you for that. That's hilarious. So the Irish are already out there. They are ready to go. Guzman in the middle of the front row at the moment, and he is flanked by Waziski, who has a mohawk. He didn't have that yesterday, but he's excited to be in the state championship.
So I was interested to see kind of what the matchups were. You know, as a head coach, you're trying to put your best blocker against the other team's best hitter, or your best hitter against the other team's smallest blocker. And I was interested to see how Coach Feltz and Coach Jennings were going to match this up. And it looks like Guzman is starting in the front row, and also is Cameron Hoying, which is exactly what I would have done, trying to match those two up.
First serve thrown and fired by Brendan Shivers. There's a good dig from the toss across. Quick set to the back row, and that swing went into the net. So Evan Althouse's first attack is for naught, and the lead goes to the Irish, 1-0.
Yeah, but not a bad swing. I think it's important that he needs to get the rhythm. They need to continue to get him the ball.
Althouse, very important in yesterday's matchup for the Stallions. Big swing. Well, good effort by Mike Walter, but he wasn't able to dig it up, and so the point goes to the Stallions, and we are tied at 1.
Cameron White is back to serve for the Stallions right now, and he leads the team in aces, and we saw that yesterday. When he is on that back line, the ball has major topspin and drops really quick.
Walter dug that one easily. Quick back set, and it's touched, but unable to be controlled. Fermalon can't handle it, and it goes out of bounds. That's a point for the Irish. They break serve and lead it 2-1. So Riles Guzman Serves middle back. Fermalon receives outside. Althouse off the touch. Walters near side. Pushed across by Winters. Outside. And that'll be a point for the Irish. The ball hit the tape and then fell back on DeSales' side. 3-1. Guzman serves Althouse. They come right back to him. He attacks off Winters. Good cross court, but couldn't keep it in. Jason Walter may have wanted to just free that one over instead of, because he didn't have his angle quite right.
I think a lot of it's nerves right now.
Yeah.
So they'll settle in and make better decisions, but that was just a quick adrenaline kind of hit, and he'll settle in.
Middle back, that's Walter with the reception. Back row to Guzman. And that's off the hands of Hunsaker and out of play. 4-2, Irish on top.
That was a fabulous play. So Guzman came in running that pipe/bick right over Wyziski, who's 6'5". So the DeSales blockers have to pay attention to him, but then getting it to Guzman, the block may be off.
Jason Walter to serve. High toss. He serves White. Gabrielli to the outside, Althouse. And they try to get it elevated, but unable to do so. Walter got his hands on it, but couldn't get enough elevation for the next player, so that's a point for the Stallions, and also a break serve.
And it was a great out-of-system set to Althouse. Althouse is having a little trouble right now making good connection with his hand to ball. Again, that's probably a nerves thing. He'll settle into that.
Gabrielli serves that one into the net. So that's an unforced error, and the Irish lead by 2, 5-3. As Ethan Wyziski steps to the serving line. New coif and all. Fermalon gets it in the air. Gabrielli keeps it alive. Althouse nowhere close.
So that's what we were just talking about, that hand-to-ball contact, and a lot of that is he's thinking too far ahead instead of keeping his eye on the ball when he's swinging.
White with a good reception to the back row. This is Althouse, and it's dug out nicely by Guzman. To the outside, pushed across. Nope, they're going to call a net violation against DeSales. That's Cameron Hoying, I believe.
Cameron Hoying is 6'8", and his goal on blocking is to reach over as far as possible on the other side, and he just reached too far on that one.
So timeout on the floor as DeSales takes a break. They're trailing by 4, 7-3. And this is a good time for a timeout, especially when you're on the short end a little bit. You felt it out. You can calm your kids down a little bit and refocus them.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Coach Feltz is saying. Like, hey, just take a deep breath. We don't have to change anything. We just have to play our game. You know, you got to put 3 things together. That's the hard part about volleyball. You know, you don't score off one person.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have just one stud. Everybody has to do their job. So focus on your job, and the rest will follow.
The Irish already on the floor out of the timeout. DeSales went with 14 different players yesterday, albeit in a match that was under control pretty early. There's Althouse to the outside, and again, he hits it right into the net. So Althouse struggling early, and the Irish with a commanding 5-point lead.
St. Vincent-St. Mary's is fun. They are, the energy they carry is, it's hard to match, and it's not something you can teach. It's just something that they,
another
look
net
at how
violation,
they are.
yeah.
Yes, pushing each other. Coaches are just as excited as the athletes. And that's the momentum they need to keep all the way through this match.
Zane Patterson was the guilty party there, 9-3. Fermalon outside. Althouse pounds it, this one's down. Good swing, he needed that, and he got a nice one. Right inside the back corner for the point, 9-4, Irish on top. Evan Althouse to the serving line. Serves Walter outside. Good cut. And under the net goes Cameron White, and that's a no-no.
So in OHSAA volleyball, you cannot go under the net, but in club volleyball, you can, as long as it doesn't interfere, and that seems to be a rule that changes almost year to year from organization to organization.
Trying to figure out how to keep people healthy and still let them play aggressively. It's always a balancing act.
It is.
That service error gives the Stallions a 5th point. They still trail by 5, and Firmal on to the serving line. He hits the jumper. Outside, Guzman off the block. White tries to set it up, but it ends up hitting the top of the tape and falling straight back down. So 11-5, Irish have the lead.
We've seen Guzman now hit that cut shot multiple times, and it's effective. What DeSales needs to do is shift over and force him to hit line.
Back row, Althaus hammers that one down. Nicely done for the 6'6" senior who picks up the point. His team trails by 5, 11-6.
That's the rhythm his team needs to see from him, and sometimes it just takes that deep breath. I need one good contact, and then now it's like riding a bike, doing it all over again. Back
row, Wyziski. The banner saves DeSales perhaps, and it does as they get the clear. Outside, Guzman into the block, and that'll be a point for the Irish. Gabrielli was there, but the ball went right into his arms and straight down.
Yeah, their blocking arms weren't over the net far enough. They were too straight up, and what happens is when someone hits the ball as hard and fast as what we just saw, the ball will hit their arms and then dribble down the front of their bodies.
That one goes off the arms of Althaus. Might have gone out of bounds if he hadn't touched it, but it did skim his forearms and went out of bounds, so it's 13-6, the Irish with the lead. High toss, big attack. Althaus comes up with it, it's tight. Hoying keeps it alive. Cameron White goes up, and that's gonna be a lift as the ball got stuck between the chest and the arms of Mike Walter.
There's 2 ball handling errors that we see a lot, or calls, and one of them is a lift, and one of them is a double contact. So you can't catch and throw the ball, and you can't hit the ball twice.
And honestly, that could have been either one.
It's true.
Wyziski, nice job at adjusting, but he's blocked. Ball goes to the backside this time. Off the touch and out of bounds, so the point goes to the Irish once again, who have momentum in a big, big way here in this first set.
And they're not allowing DeSales to get a run of points. If for some reason the ball goes over to DeSales' possession, they're getting it a side out right away.
Speaking of, Gabrielli is able to put that one down inside the back line. That's a side out, and the serve comes back to the DeSales Stallions, trailing by 6, 14-8. Gabrielli will step to the serving line. Sorry, that's Michael Hunsaker. Hunsaker serves middle back. Bump set, back row, blocked. Trying to keep it alive, dinks it across. Hoying, Hunsaker, Gabrielli trying to keep it alive. White sends it across. Althaus is over. Quick one in the middle, blocked at the net. Bump set for Wyziski. He goes up high. Hoying with his 6'10" frame, able to get a handle on it. Big swing, that one's off the arms of Walter. And that's a great rally, and the Stallions end up with a victory on that one. 14-9 the score.
And that's the speed we said we were going to see from both these teams. They're going to bring each other's best effort out because of that speed.
Hunsaker serves middle back. That's Mike Walter. Outside, into the block, kept alive. Outside again, tight to the net, blocked. And that's going to be a point for the Irish. The ball was sitting up on the tape, and Gabrielli got in there and was able to knock it home.
Yeah, they're going to give the ball to the Irish because of a net fault. Zane Patterson believed touched the net.
Timeout taken by the Irish, who lead it 14-10. And on the timeout, DeSales hitting 158 thus far, and St. Vincent-St. Mary really hitting well at 389 here in this first set. Only one attack error through the first half or so of this first set.
So now this becomes a blocking game and a back row defending game. If the blockers can touch these attacks and slow it down, now the ball becomes what we call a free ball. And the free ball is easier for a setter to deliver to any hitter at that point, and blockers have to make choices on where the ball's gonna go.
So continuing to serve is Michael Hunsaker. And it's in. Pulling his hands down at the last minute was Mason Winters, thinking maybe he was going to clear that back line. It did not. And now the lead is 3, 14-11 for the Irish.
Hunsaker is a senior middle for the Stallions and is a Navy ROTC scholarship winner for this year.
That's impressive. Outside, Winter. Nope. He was tight to the antenna, up against the ladder, and doing everything he could to punch it across, and he was unable to do that.
So the second referee is calling Cameron Hoying for DeSales in the net. And the up ref and the down ref have a way to communicate with each other electronically through earbuds and stuff like that. And they're chatting about it. And the up ref actually overruled it.
So they gave the ball back to DeSales. And then the down ref had to have a quick conversation with Coach Andy Feltz. 14-12. Hunsaker ready to go. Serves Winters. Back set. Good elevation. And no way to save it. Nicely done on the far side. That was Jason Walter, who had a nice approach and hit the ball very well.
So St. Vincent-St. Mary's has now allowed the Stallions back into this by giving them a run of points. And so this is where they need to capitalize on trying to get a run of 3 points also.
Gabrielli puts it up in the air outside to Althouse, who dinks it across. Back set, Wyziski, big swing, out of bounds. White did a good job pulling his arms away.
That is a strategy as a blocker. You want, if you see that a hitter is aiming up more, pulling your hands down means that they can't hit the ball off your fingers and get a touch.
Guzman with reception, he goes middle back and is too strong. So now it's just a 1-point set. 15-14, the Irish still have the lead, but the Stallions have crept back in. Gabrielli to serve. Guzman to Shivers, back set. And Wyziski goes up and hammers it down just beyond the 10-foot line in front of Gabrielli.
He's using his height to his advantage, saying, let's go, boys, let's take this back.
More aerodynamic with the haircut. That serve goes into the net. And the Stallions get the serve back, trailing by 1, 16-15. Evan Althouse to the serving line. To Winters, Shivers, back to Winters, who tosses it across, he's blocked. Comes right back, Shivers, backside, Wyziski, dug out by Gabrielli. Outside, big swing, out of bounds. Cameron White.
DeSales saw a touch, but the officials didn't. So they're asking for it, but that is the call for the officials, and so it's important that they drop that, which they did. They're showing great respect for these officials today.
Irish by 2, 17-15. Althouse, Hoying outside. White well off the net, sends it down the line, dug out by Wyziski. Outside, Guzman into the block, he tooled it well. Hoying was there, Patterson was there, but the point go to the Irish.
So right now, Guzman and Hoying are matched up. Hoying is blocking Guzman, and Guzman actually used Hoying's outside pinky on that last play to tool him.
So Patterson with a kill attempt, but it was blocked at the net, and DeSales wasn't able to come up with it. So the Irish lead has ballooned once again to 19-15, and that causes DeSales to take their second time out of the first set.
Coach Feltz for DeSales in this timeout is probably talking about, like, hey, we just can't make any unforced errors. We have to get our serve in. We have to make sure if we're in trouble that we hit a shot, maybe hit a corner or tip the ball into the middle of the court and then reset.
DeSales hitting just .043, while St. Vincent-St. Mary is hitting .259. So both are positive, but St. Vincent-St. Mary a little closer to where you want to be as a team at this point of the set. Only 4 attack errors versus 6 for DeSales.
I think that really was, Evan Althouse was trying to find his groove, and he has found it. It just cost the team a few points at the beginning of the set. So I'm not worried about this being the deciding factor for DeSales versus St. Vincent winning this game.
Mason Winters to serve for the Irish. Middle back, Gabrielli receives. Quick one in the middle, Zane Patterson hits it, but it's kept alive by number 8, Guzman. This is going to be a free ball. Winters, Shivers outside to Guzman, blocked. Over. And they're going to call kind of a push or a back row attack against the Irish.
They're calling a back row attack on Shivers,
I believe,
but I think Shivers is front row.
So there's an explanation being had on a number of levels as Wyziski has come and had a conversation with the official on the ladder.
So this is what happened. So the libero for St. Vincent-St. Mary's delivered a hand set to a hitter, but he was in front of the 10-foot line, and that is illegal, which is why they called it a back row attack.
Guzman out of bounds, no touch. Good swing, and he cut it well, just couldn't keep it inside the line. And the Irish deficit, or the Irish lead, I should say, has been cut to 2, 19-17. Here's Aaron Fermalon, the libero for the Stallions. Push across, nicely done on that second ball. Left Gabrielli unaware. Aiden Gaffney to the serving line. 2017, the Irish have the lead. Fermalon out of bounds. You saw his whole body drifting there. He was not squared to the ball, and that's why the ball did what it did.
It's interesting that they're targeting Fermalon. He's the libero, and statistically he should be the best passer, but they're trying to get the ball his direction.
Hoying sets it outside. Cameron White, that one's into the block. Point for the Stallions as Jason Walter went up with Shivers, but was unable to send it back across the net. 21-18, Irish lead. Hoying serves. Quick one in the middle. Guzman serves it over. Bump set, very tight. Out of bounds. She calling a touch against the Irish. And so they're going to give the ball to DeSales.
So the line judge called touch, which she was correct.
Now they've reversed the call.
They've reversed the call because the up referee originally said that the ball was out of bounds.
Yeah.
And then now they're saying that DeSales touched it before it was going out of bounds. So the ball is going to go over to St. Vincent-St. Mary's.
Huge swing. Comes right back over. Quick one. Wyziski hits it. Can they free it? They can. Nope, they can't. The official said it was a lift, so the point goes to DeSales. 22-19, the Irish lead. DeSales with the serve.
As a referee, you've got to be on your game. This is so fast.
Cameron White to serve. The jumper pounds it, and it's out. Service error against Cameron White. 23-19, the Irish lead, and they also have the serve with Guzman to the serving line. Riles serves White. Hoying outside. Althouse down the line, and he powered that thing.
That's the Althouse that we talked about at the beginning of this match. If he can keep that power and Hoying can keep the block one-on-one with him, he'll be unstoppable.
Shivers the recipient of that ball, and he just sent it into the stands. 23-20 the score. Hunsaker to serve for the Stallions. And it's out of bounds, another serving error.
Yeah, second service error in a row for DeSales. That's a hard one to swallow as a coach, but hopefully they can get it back right here and get their run of 4.
Set point for the Irish. Quick one in the middle. Trying to keep it alive, they do. Freeing it across. Fermalon, Hoying outside, Althouse down the line. Right in front, big swing in front of Walter.
This serve has got to go in. This is, as a coach, you're looking at your server going, just get it in.
Gabrielli to do it. He does get it in. Guzman receives it. Back set. Oh my goodness, Wyziski off the face of Gabrielli to win the point and the set. 25-21, and what an emphatic finish to set number 1.
Yeah, the momentum's definitely over on St. Vincent-St. Mary's side right now, especially on a play like that. You want to make sure that obviously the other player is okay, but to bring that kind of heat definitely shifts the energy over to your side.
Wyziski with a big-time swing, and he's still smiling over that, as are his teammates. And you mentioned it, you've talked about this team being a lot of fun. They are definitely loose. They are definitely here to have fun and, oh, by the way, win a championship. They're not feeling like this stage or this moment is too big.
Yeah, and whether they're down or up, they kind of have the same momentum. You really never see a shift in a down face versus a happy face versus a losing face versus a winning face. And that's kind of what DeSales needs to bring. Just stay consistent. Stay consistent with doing your job. Stay consistent with your momentum and energy.
Riles Guzman leading the way for St. Vincent-St. Mary. 6 kills on 10 attacks. Only 2 errors. He's hitting 400 for the first set. On the other side, Evan Althouse, 6 kills, 14 attacks, but he does have 3 errors, so his numbers are a little bit less impressive, and it did take him a little while to get going. But get going, he did. He needs the rest of his teammates to help him out.
So if I'm Coach Feltz with the Stallions, I'm saying things like, hey, we need to establish the middle. Let's get the ball to the middle at the beginning of this set so that it keeps the middle blocker for St. Vincent and St. Mary's committed, okay? Second, Hoying needs to be offensive when he's in the front row. That's another thing that they have to establish so that the Irish are keeping that in the back of their head, at least early on in the match, and then bring it back towards the end of the set so that you get a few extra points doing that.
Whatever Coach Andy Feltz said to his team, he said it quickly. They quickly got back out onto the court with about 90 seconds still remaining in the timeout, and they are huddled up in the as a team, just talking things over. And number 13, Zane Patterson, being the vocal leader in that circle at the moment.
Zane Patterson is a basketball player also, and he's very good at it. He just loves volleyball and wanted to come out and support his team, and he's really fulfilling that middle role and doing a great job.
I said this to Michelle Mimna in the first match, but I think it would be a great stat if they could learn to give it to us, not just height, but wingspan, because some of these guys have such long arms. You may be 6'4", but you may play like you're 7 foot. Those big long arms, those big long legs. Hoying is one of those in this set, you know, just he's 6'8", but man, his arms are just forever.
Right, you think about 6'8", that's the height of an average door, but now he raises his arms up. Geez, he's almost at the 8-foot net height.
Guzman goes up and sends it down and gets the first point of the second set on a nice set by Shivers.
Now Shivers is back to serve, and he always just goes for it and rips it.
And there it is. into the net, but goodness gracious, what a swing.
Yeah, but we talked about that yesterday. Like, as a coach, you have a hand signal, a go for it hand signal, and just get it in. And, you know, it seems like Coach Jennings is always giving Shivers the go for it hand signal.
Aaron Tran on to serve. First time we've seen him this afternoon. He did play yesterday. And he serves it out of bounds.
Just trading unforced errors here at the beginning of this set.
Tran's a 5'6" setter, and he immediately goes back to the bench. Hunsaker comes out as well as Fermalon returns. Gabrielli and Fermalon get tied up together, and the ball falls. 3-1 Irish.
It was good to see, though, Fermalon looked over and said to Gabrielli, hey, let me take that ball. I can take that for you.
Gabrielli to Hoying, Althouse hammers it. That one's blocked. Walter hanging tough. Wyziski hits it, but it's dug out, outside to Althouse. Walter comes up with it. Guzman, the second ball. Walter, free ball across. Fermalon, outside, Althouse. In front of Walter, and that'll be a point.
Much better set from Hoying to Althouse. He was able to get that into a location that Althouse had both options, a cross court and a line shot.
3-2, the Irish have the advantage. I like Mike Walter a lot. He seems to be able to get some part of his body on almost every ball, even if it's not a clean dig. Outside, Winter down the line, out of bounds.
He was trying to go for that deep corner. It was probably a good idea, just a little wide.
Gabrielli to serve, tied at 3 here in the second set. Gabrielli's in, they're gonna let that one go. Cross net. And that's down in front of Shivers.
And that's what we talked about. DeSales needed to get some of these other attack options out on the floor. So now St. Vincent-St. Mary's has to think about maybe this is coming from a different direction.
Wyziski hits it, but White able to dig it. And now he sends it over on the 3, bump set. Cross court, Fermalon comes up with it. Hoying, back row, White, inside the line. White found a great spot. Wyzinski saying that White's foot was across the line.
And I have a good view of that line, and he was totally fine. So I think they're just begging at this point.
Gabrielli tossed it and let it fall to the ground, so he gets a redo. 5-3, Stallions lead it. And he serves Walter, back row. Quick one in the middle. Wyziski, no, it's going to be Winter instead. Sorry, Walter, and Walter was able to get the point inside the block. Mike Walter to the serving line. His team trails at 5-4. Gabrielli, Hoying on the slide step. Patterson had the first kill, but there's Althouse to clean it up.
This is some fun volleyball. We saw a back set off 1 foot from Zane Patterson, which he probably absolutely loves being a basketball player, and then delivering that overpass to Althouse. He could just bounce that off the ground.
Wyziski comes right back with a big hit off the double block. Is a pretty good serve by Althouse, but Wyziski able to finish it. 6-5, Stallions lead, and Wyziski at the serving line now. Out of bounds, just missed the line. Good job by Althouse to stay away from that thing and let it. Now Aaron Fermalon, his team leads by 2, 7-5. Off the tape, down in front of Guzman. That's a helpless feeling when that ball catches the tape and there's nothing you can do but dive for your life.
Yeah, but it's also the responsibility to keep your eye on the ball, and I think they didn't expect it to hit the net, so they weren't watching the ball like they needed to be to play that. But hey, that's part of the game. If the ball can hit the net and dribble over, could you imagine if you could do that every time? You'd probably make some good money in the pro leagues.
I would say so, yeah. 8-5, Stallions have the advantage here. Speaking of pro leagues coming together in volleyball, we're watching this sport grow on all different levels at all different times. It's really an exciting time to be a fan of the sport.
It really is. There's no secret that there's actually 2 pro leagues for women's volleyball here in America that are battling to see who can do it right, do it first. It's kind of like a race to the moon. But you know, any type of volleyball exposure is just going to continue to help the game grow for these guys. It really helps that OHSAA has also sanctioned girls wrestling. If girls wrestling can continue to grow, then that opens up that boys sport at the collegiate level for guys, whether that be sand or indoor.
Big swing off the arm of Mason Winters, and he gets the point out of the timeout. Stallions lead it by 2, and Winters will go to the serving line. Winters with the toss. Hits Althouse. Hoying outside. White off the touch. Shivers was there, as was Gaffney, but the ball went off their fingertips and caromed into the back corner of the arena.
Cameron White has a massive jump. We're seeing him jump and his feet are almost at the bottom of the net. But he's not the tallest guy out there, so he knows how to use the block to his advantage.
Outside, Guzman, touch. Hoying, Fermalon. And a beautiful placement by Gabrielli as he showed finesse over the block and into the middle of no man's land.
Very smart play. We call that having great volleyball IQ, knowing where the open floor is, even if that doesn't mean you're hitting it as hard as possible.
Winters outside, down the line, it's out. Guzman hit it hard, but couldn't paint the line, so the point goes to the Stallions, who now lead by 5, 11-6.
He was hoping to get a touch on that, but the hand wasn't there that he was expecting to hit.
Have to do a little good housekeeping on the floor, get some perspiration off. And so here comes Hoying now. Off the tape, dug out. Back row, Waziski, too strong. May have wanted to flat foot that one instead of elevate. Didn't really have a great approach.
You know, the court size is the same for girls and for boys, but the court looks smaller with these guys because they're so long and so tall. So really just a little tap could go out of bounds.
Really good attack by Guzman, good dig by White, and then the response is a point for DeSales, who have taken advantage, and they now lead with a commanding 13-6 advantage. Hoying. Shivers, second ball over. Fermalon sends it across to keep it alive. Outside, Guzman with the dink. Hoying. Fermalon, bat sec to White. Dug out by Winters. Guzman. Althouse, outside, White. Off the touch, that's a point for DeSales.
This is the tempo of play that the Stallions can live at. This is what we didn't get to see yesterday. So these guys are doing a great job of communicating with each other through the chaos. Sometimes these balls don't come at them the way they expect, but they are listening to each other and providing good out-of-system setting.
Back row from Althouse, and it's just long. That breaks the momentum for DeSales. For the moment, they still lead by 7, 14-7, and the serve comes across to Aiden Gaffney for the Irish. Gaffney, a 6'1" junior. Trying to keep it alive, and he does. Hoying, that one's down in front of Waziski. He gets a hand on it, but can't elevate. The point goes to the Stallions.
Gabrielli always has a face like, I'm the master of the roll shot. This is the second time that he's done that.
Cameron White, dug by Walter, outside. Into the touch, good effort, but across the line and unable to elevate on top of it was Michael Hunsaker. So the side out comes to the Irish. Shivers to serve. with the high toss and the big arm. Too strong.
So that's his second service error in a row. So as a coach, Coach Jennings is probably saying, hey, next time let's just get it in and get a rhythm, and then you can increase that velocity 1% each time after you get that first one in.
Michael Hunsaker to serve for the Stallions. Guzman outside. Wyziski, big swing, and he gets it inside the back line. Side out for the Irish, and the ball comes to Riles Guzman to serve. There's a dig by White, back set, Gabrielli. Hits Walter, outside, Winter. Off the touch and out of bounds. That'll be a point for the Fighting Irish, and the deficit is now 6, 16-10.
So Riles Guzman is the name we say a lot, but Winters is holding his own out on the outside also, and he's carrying the team kind of like he's taking a lot of reception balls. He's got to pass, then he's got to also hit. I mean, mentally that's straining, and he's doing a great job.
Althouse sent that last kill long, so now it's a 5-point lead for the Stallions, and they get a break there as the serve is long to the back line. And DeSales gets it back, now leading by 6, 17-11. Gabrielli to serve. Outside. That hit the antenna, so the point goes to the Stallions. It was a swing with purpose for Mason Winters. He hit the ball hard, but it caught the antenna on the way across. Gabrielli. His team leads by 7. Serves Winters, who gets it out in the air. It's going to be a free ball. And it goes just out. Guzman tried to make something out of nothing from the back row and flat-footed. Couldn't quite catch the back line, and that causes the Irish to take another timeout. They trail by 8, 19-11.
So in the boys' game, you don't want to live on hoping that you get lucky on one of these balls. You know, you really have to continue to deliver a high hittable ball, whether that's coming from the setter or maybe the libero steps in as an out-of-system setter. But anything that's high and allowing your hitters to jump and attack is going to be more effective than staying on the ground and just trying to hope that it lands on the line.
Out of the timeout, the Irish are back out on the floor. Shamrocks on the back of their heads, or at least Winters. And they're still looking and playing loose. Smiling, talking it through. Trailing by 8 in this second set. They won the first one. 25-21. Hope to have a comeback in them right now. Gabrielli to serve. Luke with the toss and the swing. Winters outside. Off the net. Dug out by Fermalon. Will it stay in play? It will not. Althouse tried to get over there and do something about it, and he couldn't. 19-12. Stallions have the lead, and the serve comes back to Mike Walter, the libero.
Mike Walter will serve.
Gabrielli comes up with it, immediately frustrated with the way it came off his hand. Althouse across the net. Outside, Wyziski sends it Fermalon. Hoying. Althouse trying to punch it across and couldn't do it. A little late to the ball that time, and the point goes to the Irish.
Yeah, and just not the right decision. In chaos, you want to just send the ball over like a free ball and use your hands as a setter type free ball situation and send it to right back versus trying to fist it over.
Althouse hit that one with authority. Received well down the line, and that's going to be a point for the Irish as well. He got it past Althouse and Patterson and down the line for the score. And now the Irish trail by only 5, and that causes the head coach of the Stallions, Andy Feltz, to call a timeout.
Yeah, he's going to talk through a little bit of the fundamentals of the game of volleyball. Like, let's take care of the first ball.
Yeah.
Just get it nice and high. We score, serve, receive. If it's a perfect pass, you can get 3 points. If the ball is passed around the 10-foot line, it's 2 points. Anything in the backcourt is 1, and obviously an ace is 0 points. So they're going. They need to try to go for that 2 pass and make things safe at this point.
DeSales finishing up their huddle. The Irish all the way already back out. Mike Walter getting set to serve it again. They have cut the deficit to 5, 19-14. White, Fermalon, and Gabrielli in the back row. Hoying, Althouse, and Patterson in the front for the Stallions. There's an overpass. That one's sent across. Shivers, back set. Wyziski into the cross court in front of Gabrielli for the point.
Yeah, you have to expect anytime you send over that free ball, St. Vincent-St. Mary's is going to take advantage of it, which they just did.
Gaffney, Winters, and Wyziski up in front. And nothing Fermalon could do on that one after a bad reception. So 19-16. And the Irish continue to creep ever closer. Mike Walter, along with Shivers and Guzman in the back row. And Walter serves into the net. Unforced error and a bad time for it.
Yeah, he's going to have to step in here and make up for that on this pass coming from Altman.
20-16, DeSales on top. Altman to serve, high toss, big swing. Walter catches it, or receives it, I should say. Guzman, and that's down. Fermalon watched it go past, thinking it was going to be wide. It stayed inside the line. Back to a 3-point deficit for the Irish.
So Wyziski is a great server for St. Vincent-St. Mary's, but we also have Hoying front row. But on that 2 pass, he's not able to be a threat as an attacker. Doesn't matter.
No, White hits it off the touch, and Walter is leaning the wrong way, so that's a point for the Stallions. 21-17. DeSales on top with Fermalon to the serving line. The toss. Winter. Back row, Guzman finds the spot between Althouse and Fermalon.
That play has been very effective for them. They need to continue to run that play to continue to creep back up to try to tie up with the Stallions.
21-18. Althouse outside, that's White. White gets a touch on Mason Winters, and the point goes to the Stallions, 22-18. Three points from tying this match up at 1 set apiece. Walters, Guzman into Gabrielli, and a big, big swing. It goes right down Gabrielli, and he is frustrated with himself. But the Irish inch closer, 22-19. Stallions on top. Here's Aiden Gaffney to serve. Gaffney serves middle back, that's Althouse. Right back to him. Off the tape. Gaffney unable to dig it up after the misdirection. And the point goes to the Stallions, and then there were 2. 23-19, Stallions on top. Cameron White to serve. White with a toss, big swing. Winter comes up with it. Sorry, that's Walter. Into the block. Guzman keeps it alive. Fermalon to Hoying outside. And that's Gabrielli into the net. So the point goes to the Irish.
So this is interesting. Shivers is going back to serve now. And remember, he missed his past 2 serving opportunities into the net. But he's good. He did a jump float serve, made sure to get it in. That was very smart of him.
That keeps the game alive. Big swing, dug out. Trying to keep it alive. Tremendous effort by Althouse. My goodness gracious. Outside, Guzman off the touch, point to the Irish.
Great effort on both teams. I love those pursuit plays. They're doing a phenomenal job of communicating with each other, delivering that go set to Guzman. Hey, this game is now 2 points away from being tied.
Althaus down and in. And the Stallions within one of winning this second set. What a back and forth effort this has been by both of these teams. Michael Hunsaker to serve for St. Francis DeSales. Raucous crowds from both schools filling the arena. Hunsaker serves. Guzman shivers outside. Once again, oh, Walter keeping it alive. One more time. Wyszynski gets 3 straight attack opportunities. This one's gonna ride up and a free ball across. The Irish keep it alive, Hoying outside, Althaus, too long.
That was a phenomenal coverage defense by St. Vincent-St. Mary's. They're underneath the block and prepared for when they do get blocked to play it, and they did a phenomenal job.
Guzman with the serve. Fermalone receives outside to Althaus, into the block. White keeps it alive, Hoying from the back row. Althaus again. Set to the outside, Winters, that's out of bounds. The point to the Irish.
That was the best attack I've seen from Winters this entire tournament. He did a great job of keeping that ball above him on his right ear, delivering that ball cross court.
He was very much in rhythm, got the point, and now his team trails by only 1, which causes Andy Felts to call a timeout. 24-23, DeSales leads, but the Irish are coming, and they already have the first set in their back pocket. So really, St. Francis DeSales wants this one in a big way. 25-21 was set number 1. It's 24-23 Stallions thus far in this one.
This comes down to serve receive right here. The Stallions have to focus on this first ball contact and making sure that Cameron Hoying has the opportunity to have multiple hitters that he can choose to set that ball to.
Jason Walter hitting 375. Mason Winters hitting 188, but he's had 16 swings. He has been a go-to guy. Fermalon, overpass, nope. Hoying did a great job keeping it alive, but the kill went way along. They're asking for a touch. The official on the backside had a touch, but the ladder official is going to overrule that.
See, and I'm right here. I saw a touch, but again, this game is so fast. There's going to be errors. That's why the college programs have adopted the review program, because it's so fast.
One-handed set, hammered, just misses the back line. The point goes to the Irish. It's 25-24. Of course, you have to win by 2. So Guzman with a chance to win this set and serves it long.
So we're back to deuce here. And you really want to get the advantage right now so that you only have to have 1 point to win versus 3.
Gabrielli for the serve opportunity. Luke, a 6'1" oppo hitter, senior on this team. He serves middle back. Quick one. Wyszynski hit it, but the point goes to DeSales as Wyszynski couldn't keep it in play. Stallions 26, Irish 25. Set point for St. Francis DeSales. Winter and Walter both trying to play it, and the ball went sideways. The point and the set go to the Stallions of St. Francis DeSales, and we are tied at 1 set apiece. 25-21 to the Irish, 27-25 to the Stallions.
This is how you want a state championship match to look, though. You want to see them trading back and forth. You want to see the competitive vibes flowing on both sides, and that's what we're seeing. We're still seeing excitement coming from St. Vincent-St. Mary's. DeSales is trying to focus a little bit more on their fundamental skills on serve receive, but both are doing a great job.
We've come to the time in our telecast where some lucky fan from the stands gets a chance to serve for fabulous prizes. We have not seen anyone hit the banner yet this weekend. Everybody gets a prize. That one is short. That one had a unique approach, but still missed the target.
Oh, he's begging for cheers.
Calling for the fans. This one has a lot of arch, but is short. Still fabulous prizes chosen especially for him.
Oh, it's a fun environment here.
Exactly right.
You know, boys volleyball or men's volleyball compared to girls volleyball, there's a little bit more heckling, and you hear the fans, they're pretty loud and energetic, and you can even see it from the benches. But I am impressed with how respectful these boys are. They are very respectful to their coaches and to the officials. They're open to asking questions, but if the official says this is what's happening, they say, okay.
Looking at the stats after 2 sets, each team has recorded a single team block. The attack numbers not great for either team. 205 for St. Vincent-St. Mary, 161 for DeSales. I guess service errors are substantial. St. Vincent-St. Mary with 8 and St. Francis DeSales with 4. And maybe that's the thing, at least one of the things that these coaches want to say to their kids is let's not leave points on the field or on the floor.
I definitely agree with you. But we saw both teams kind of scale back on their serving tempo. You know, some that usually do a jump topspin stayed on the ground or did more of a jump float serve, and they'll probably do that again in this set until they can get their rhythm back.
Those kind of adjustments take a lot of maturity on the part of some of these kids, and we saw Shivers do it. We've seen some others do it as well.
Both teams have a low hitting percentage here. A lot of errors.
Yeah.
So I think if they can minimize some of those unforced errors, they'll be able to raise that, which is going to also increase their chances of getting a lead early in this set.
Each team with 13 attack errors. Evan Althouse with 8 all by himself. That's a rough day. But he's also played a very significant role in the offense at other times. So you take the good with the bad a lot of times, or the bad with the good, if you will. Shivers serves out of the chute. Hoying with a one-handed set to keep it alive. It goes across, and here comes Riles Guzman. He's into the block. Shivers, back set. Wyziski. That comes right back across. Dinked over. Althouse. And confusion at the net as Hunsaker and Hoying have a quick conversation about who should have played that second ball.
Somebody has to step in there and just scream mine and send it over, and nobody really said anything.
Shivers serves Althouse with authority. Cameron White hits it hard at Shivers, and he can't field it. It goes out of play, and it's 1-1.
And that's a good feeling for White to have that kill right there, but now become the server. Remember, we talked, he leads his team in aces, so he's going to feel that rhythm from that attack right into this serve.
He serves Winter. Walter brings it across and sent over by Guzman. Back set. Gabrielli gets up and hits it down right in front of Walter. Nice swing by number 8.
Gabrielli's hitting a great game. 9 total attempts now, 5 kills. He's only had 2 errors. He's hitting .333. He might be the guy that we need to get that DeSales has to get the ball to.
Big serve by Cameron White, and Winter can't handle it. 3-1 Stallions on top. Cameron White, he is a guy who wants to play quick. He's back there looking at the official, waiting for the whistle so he can go. He gets it. The serve is a strong one. Guzman receives it. Wyziski, big swing.
Wyziski is on top of his game today also. You know, looking at statistics, the St. Vincent-St. Mary's team is spreading out the majority of their attacks between Guzman, Winters, and Wyzinski, and they're doing a good job of that, which is definitely keeping DeSales on their toes.
Off the block, the point, or actually a player who's in the net, it was Wyzinski, so that goes over to DeSales. 4-2 is our score. Wyzinski, another one of those guys who you look at him and you say, all right, 6'5", that's pretty tall, but he's got arms that make him much more than 7 foot. At the net. Nice swing and a point scored by Jason Walter.
I have to give credit on that one to Shivers. Shivers did a really nice jump set, which held the blockers, and then that just helps the hitter have more of a one-on-one situation with the block in front of them.
Back row, Cameron White finds a spot in the zone. The back corner was vacant, and he found it for the point. 5-3 Stallions.
One thing I noticed with the guys' game versus the girls' game is guys they accept the other team of doing something good. You know, sometimes girls are always like, what did I do wrong? Well, sometimes the other team is just going to do great things.
A touch on the swing, so Wyzinski gets the kill, and he's going to go back to serve for the Irish, trailing by 1. 5-4, Stallions have the advantage. And he floats that one very long. 6-4, Stallions on top after that service error by Wyzinski. One set apiece. We are in the all-important third set of this state championship. Division II boys volleyball. That serve was an ace. Mike Walter couldn't field it. Off to his right. 7-4, Stallions on top. Althouse. The high toss, and he airmails this one. The short hops the wall.
He's giggling about it a little bit. You know, when you're going hard and fast like that, sometimes you're going to have an error that's funny like that.
Mason Winters serves Althouse, and it's an overpass. And Shivers sends it across, and Gabrielli can't keep it in play. So that's out of bounds off of Gabrielli, and the point goes to the Irish, who trail now by 1, 7-6. Winters again to serve. Gabrielli dives in front of Althouse, and he can't make the play, so it goes off of him and out of play, and we're tied at 7.
So DeSales is shifting their serve receive, changing it up. Sometimes that happens because you just need to give a server a different look, force them to serve a different zone.
Big swing in the middle, and that's Zane Patterson,
so
the basketball player. Go ahead.
Yeah, so shifting that serve receive did work to their advantage, because now Fermalon is back to serve.
Patterson heads to the bench, and Fermalon comes to the serving line. The jumper received by Walter. Great adjustment by Guzman on a set that was kind of out of his way, and there's a spike down in the corner, perfectly placed just inside the line between Winter and Walters.
I love watching Cameron White jump. He really has some hang time up there. He could almost do a little turn and then spike the ball.
Yeah, that's something that I never had. I had neither elevation nor hang time, which is why I'm sitting here. 9-8 Stallions with the advantage. And Aiden Gaffney. Fermalon plays it after hearing out from a chorus of his teammates. Is that one going to get over? It's not. So that would have been 4 hits. Shivers tried to go quick to Jason Walter, and there was miscommunication at front. (10-8) Stallions lead. Hoying serves, trying to keep it alive and unable to do so as Shivers went under the net. That was a great effort by Shivers and by Jason Walter to try to keep it alive, but Shivers ended up underneath the net. 11-8, Stallions lead it. Hoying to serve once again. Middle back, Winters. Bump set by Shivers. Blocked by Gabrielli at the net. It wasn't hit hard, it wasn't blocked with authority, but it got the job done.
The Irish were hoping that the other team hit the net, but the referee said there was no net contact.
So a timeout taken by the Irish, trailing by 4, 12-8 here in the third set. Each team has claimed one of the first two. This one, critical.
This isn't the first time these teams have seen each other this year. They matched up earlier in the season, and DeSales came out on top. They won in 3 sets. The scores were 25-23, 25-16, and 25-21. So you can see that both teams have improved over the season, seeing that the Irish have taken a set off of DeSales in this state championships, but they're familiar with each other, and that's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, familiarity, you know, the two sides of the coin. Familiarity breeds contempt, but we're not seeing that from these two teams. We're seeing familiarity being brotherhood on the battlefield, fighting against each other, but doing it with great respect for the other team. 12-8, Stallions on top, and out of the timeout, Cameron Hoying back to serve once again. This one received by Walter. Quick one in the middle, Guzman finds the back corner for the point. Riles Guzman now with 12 kills on 26 attempts. Here comes Shivers to serve. Back set, White goes up, hits it hard. They got to play it off the scoreboard. Guzman sends it across, is blocked. Shivers dinks it across, and he finds a spot. Fermalon a little slow getting there, a little too far off the point. The ball falls right in front of it.
And DeSales wasn't ready for that because Shivers is now back row, so they've already communicated the setter is no longer front row, but he threw it over by standing on the ground, which is totally legal.
There's a lift called on Riles Guzman as the ball kind of fell right into his arms and his breadbasket. He made a nice catch, but that's not part of the game. 13-10, Cameron White back to serve for the Stallions. Hammered. Wyziski. Hit with authority. Hoying couldn't come up with it, and the point goes to the Irish. I was impressed with Wyziski yesterday, but it seems like he's getting even better swings today, or at least he's seeing things above the net a little bit easier.
Yeah, and he's making good contact with the ball, and Shivers is doing a great job of getting the ball in the good location for all of his hitters. What a dig.
That was Fermalon, incredible. That's out of bounds. And so, they don't call it out of bounds. They say it was in play.
They did, yes. Hey, that started with Fermalon. What a phenomenal dig.
Yeah.
He was in the perfect position.
He goes to the bench, and Michael Hunsaker comes to the scoring line, serving line, I should say. He serves Winters. Wyziski, big swing, but it's blocked. Althouse off the hands of Shivers. That'll be a point for DeSales.
Better setting location coming from Hoying. The ideal situation for an outside hitter is they should be able to hit line or cross. They should be able to have that option, and in that situation, he did.
15-11, Stallions lead it. Hunsaker to serve. Quick one in the middle. Nicely placed by Wyziski. Went up, saw the floor, and found the empty spot to his right.
Now, Walters, he scored a bunch of points from the service line for his team last set. Let's see if he can carry that over to this one.
Well, it was a good serve, but the DeSales did a nice job of receiving, setting, and hammering it home, so the point goes back to the Stallions. Luke Gabrielli to the serving line. Guzman, overpass. And there to hammer it down is Zane Patterson.
Giving the crowd a kiss.
I don't know if he's got Italian in his blood, but he was celebrating and whole, blowing a kiss to the crowd. Back set. Wyziski down the line and perfect. Fermalon wanted nothing to do with that one.
That's where that block touch has to come in. Blockers have to get their hands on the ball somehow so it pops up. Otherwise, it's just too hard to dig.
Wyziski moves to the back row in the serving line. He floats it to Fermalon. Outside, Althaus down the line, touch. That's a point for DeSales. And the Stallions lead it now 18-13.
Now, both setters for both teams are front row right now, and so I expect both of them are going to get involved here.
Back row, Wyziski, dug by Althaus. Second ball over by Hoying. You said it, the setters are going to get involved, and he did it.
Yeah, so the communication from both teams is, hey, we need to plant ourselves on the setter first, then decide from there where the ball's going to go.
And when you're 6'8", you have a lot more time to decide where the ball's going to go.
Yeah, and your hand is above any blocker. Yeah, so he is definitely a threat. Passers also need to try to push the ball closer to the net when the setter is front row to allow them to have that option.
Stallions lead by 6, 19-13. Timeout on the floor in this third set. St. Francis DeSales fell in the first one 25-21, rebounded to win the second one 27-25, and now lead in this one 19-13. There will be at least a fourth set. Who will have the decided advantage, we'll find out in just a few moments. It's Winters, Guzman, Walter, Wyziski in the back for serve-receive, with Shivers and Gaffney up front right now for St. Vincent-St. Mary. Guzman comes up with it, bump set to the outside. Winters pounds it off of Gabrielli, and the point goes to the Irish.
And I was just looking at his statistics. He's now has 18 attempts and 7 kills, so that's bringing his hitting percentage up higher. He's doing his job when he gets that. Very, very proud of him.
Back row, Althaus. Walters couldn't get his fingers on it, or he did get his fingers on it. He couldn't get the ball elevated. The Stallions get another point. They lead by 6. Fermalon to serve. Shivers outside, Guzman. Tried to push it over, but right there to block it was the 6'8" Cameron Hoying.
Yeah, that's a big wall to have in front of you, especially when the ball's set tight. He did his best to try to tool that block and wipe it off, but there was no way that Hoying was going to let that happen.
Fermalon, Walter, Shivers. Finding a perfect spot in the back of the zone is number 25, Aiden Gaffney.
He had 3 blockers up in front of him and was still able to find the open floor.
Gaffney only 6'1", so while that may be taller than you who are listening, it's very average size for a volleyball player. And then he serves, and it hits the top of the tape but will not roll over.
At this point, the Irish need to get the momentum back. They need to have some big plays here. Even if it doesn't result in the set going their way, the momentum has to shift their way.
Althaus from the back row. Not a great set by Fermalon, and Althaus hit it right into the net, so the point goes to the Irish. Stallions lead by 6, 22-16, but here comes Shivers, who, when he's feeling it, can serve it well. He takes a little something off of this one. One-handed set, there's a dink across, kept alive by Shivers. The bump set by Walters. Outside, Guzman right into the block. Cameron White at 5'9" was the guy you got up there along with Gabrielli to make the block.
Yeah, they know Guzman's gonna get the ball, so they're releasing early and camping out on him.
White to serve with the Stallions in need of just 2 points for that third set victory. Guzman, quick one. Wyziski pushes it across. Shivers keeps it alive outside. Wyziski, good swing, dug up by White. Outside, Althouse off the touch. Walters going to call a net violation against Wyziski, and that brings us to set point for the Stallions. So here comes White with a chance to give his team a 2-1 advantage. Walters, good dig, quick one in the middle, pushed across. Hoying, high bump set. Free ball across. Walters, back set. Wyziski off the block. And that point goes to the Irish, 24-17.
That was a smart play because everybody thought the ball was going to Guzman. So it's a good idea to change it up every once in a while to keep the blockers on their toes.
Guzman to serve. Althouse receives it, he gets it right back from Hoying, and he pounds it past Walter and picks up the point, and that will do it for set number 3. The Stallions take care of business in the third, 25-17, and they are now up 2-1 in this best-of-5 matchup.
When Evan Althouse is on fire, he is unstoppable. And we saw that in that last set. But Cameron White is hitting .562.
Oh my goodness gracious.
He's 16 total attempts. He's only had 1 error, but 10 kills. So to have both your outside hitters on fire means it's very hard to stop a team that has these statistics.
Well, as a team for the match, they're hitting .301, and in that last set, an absurd .714.
Yeah, so, and you know, DeSales isn't doing anything special. They're not running quick plays. They're just setting high hittable balls. They're making sure hitters have options of hitting line or cross, and then hitters are making smart choices. I mean, a kill is a kill, whether it's a tip or it's a 85-mile-per-hour attack coming at you.
28 attacks for St. Vincent-St. Mary, only 21 for DeSales, but DeSales hitting .714, 16 for 21 with only 1 error. That's very impressive. St. Vincent-St. Mary hitting 12 kills on 28 attacks with 4 errors, hitting .286, which isn't shabby until you compare it with .714, which is just unbelievable.
And what we saw in the first set from the Irish was the momentum and the energy. Well, that's kind of gone away a little bit. And I think if they can pump themselves back up, get the adrenaline pumping again, they're going to have better plays. And they just need to keep the ball in the middle of the court and avoid those first ball contact mishaps where they get aced or shank the ball on a dig.
In that last set as well, St. Francis DeSales picked up 3 team blocks. It was 1-1 coming into the third set. Now they have 4. So 3 team blocks in 1 set sets the tone for what's happening at the net. A couple big stops by Hoying. You had Patterson in there. You got Althouse. Gabrielli got his hands on 1.
And you're also seeing them commit to a 3-person block versus just trying to get 2 on them. So I think they're trying to commit that block to Guzman. They expect the ball to go to Guzman or Wyziski here. So with Guzman front row right now, they're probably chatting about, okay, let's make sure that we're planting on him.
Set number 4, the Irish have to win this one to push it to number 5. Otherwise, it'll be a state championship for St. Francis DeSales. Cameron White at the serving line to get this 4th set started. Big toss, big swing. Winter receives it outside. Guzman into the block, trying to keep it alive. It goes over the net. And That worked against DeSales as they played it, and it kind of pinned against the net, and when it came back, it got ricocheted backward.
Yeah, and we talked earlier about ball handling errors. You can't lift it, you can't touch it twice, but there's some exceptions to that. If you're a blocker and you touch the first ball, you can touch the second ball that dribbles down in front of you, which that's what DeSales tried to do.
Shivers with a serving error right out of the chute as he hits it into the net. He hits it hard, but that time he didn't clear, and we're tied at 1. Michael Hunsaker to serve it for the Stallions. Middle back, Walters. Shivers keeps it alive. Wyziski over. Free ball by Gabrielli. Quick one in the middle. Hammered down, nicely done by Jason Walter.
I liked that play by the Irish. I think they need to run a little bit faster tempo. It's going to allow that triple block to not be able to get set up.
Riles Guzman serves Fermalon outside. Althaus into the block and straight down. Wyziski was there. Nope.
So the officials are just trying to keep the excitement down, make sure that there's no negative talk. Just saying, hey, keep it clean here.
Wyziski and Jason Walter were the ones who got the block, and Walter was the one who got the word of exhortation from the official. Gabrielli over the net. Walter has it. Outside, Winters. Off the touch, comes right back over. Winters to Shivers. Back set. Wyziski hits it into the net, and Patterson's pretty excited.
Yeah, so the play that the Irish just ran, everybody was coming into the middle of the court, which they're running right into the big blockers. They really should try to spread out their block a little bit more by setting the pins and allowing Guzman to be down the middle in the pipe.
That went into the block as well. Second ball. Winters goes up and hits it. Into the block, nicely done by Wyziski, who was there as Patterson tried to head it home.
That's a great block by the Irish, but also it's a good decision by the Stallions to establish the middle. So if you run the middle and you know the blocker's there, now spreading out the set to the pins, you know that the middle's gonna commit to the middle attack.
Fermalon outside, Althaus hits it hard. Walter comes up with it. Shivers. Pushed across by Winters. Back row, White. They're gonna go free across. Gabrielli tight to the net. Big swing and down, Althaus from the far side.
Big swing, one-on-one, only had one blocker in front of him. He had an option of hitting line, cross, and honestly, he picked the 10-foot line instead.
Althaus to the serving line. The Irish lead it 4-3, but the Stallions have the serve. The toss, the swing. Walters digs it. Back set. Wyziski down the line, but out of bounds.
So the ball traveled outside of the antenna. The antenna marks the out-of-bounds lines vertically on the net. Anytime the ball goes outside of it or touches the antenna, and if it goes over the antenna, it's out of bounds immediately.
Winters with a good effort to keep it alive. Free ball across. Hit hard. Guzman comes up with it. Shivers. Tough set there. Didn't really give Walters a chance to do anything. Winters a chance to do anything either, but the ball ended up on top of the net. 5-4, Stallions with the advantage. Althaus bringing it again. Walters off his arms and into the crowd. 6-4 Stallions.
Althaus just turned up that velocity. It was twice the speed we saw last time he was on the line.
High toss. Again, pounds it, but this time way too long. 6-4, the 6-5, excuse me, the Stallions have the advantage, but at the side out brings it back to Wyziski and the Irish. Ethan Wyziski. The toss, the swing. Gabrielli handles it. Tight one. Nicely done by Patterson to navigate around Aiden Gaffney to get the point.
It was a tight set, but we talked about earlier, a kill is a kill. So on paper, they would never know that it was a mishit that caused that kill.
Fermalon with the serve into the net. 7-6, Stallions lead it, but the Irish have the serve. Mason Winters to do the honors. Winters with a skip, the toss. Gabrielli answers. White from the outside. Guzman comes up with it. Walters to Guzman, who cuts it across. Back row, Althouse down in front of Winters for the point. Eight, 6, Stallions. Cameron Hoying to do the service honors. Walters digs. Guzman down in front of Althouse. A little off speed hit that time and down at his feet.
That's the connections they need to continue to make. Shivers is front row. Hopefully the Irish can continue to pass the ball a little bit tighter, and then the quicker set to the outside, which they call a go, is what Guzman needs to get his hands on.
Aiden Gaffney with the serve. He serves it out of bounds, so that comes right back to the Stallions, who lead by 2, 9-7. Cameron White to serve. A service error for White. That's White's second service error of the afternoon. Shivers serves White. Bump set for Hoying. Gabrielli dinks it across. Guzman to Shivers, back set. Wyziski, big swing, but Hoying receives. Free ball across, no. Convert immediately White, and looks up to Hoying as there was a little miscommunication between the two.
Yeah, that's happened a few times to DeSales. That's an easy play. Someone needs to just say mine and be the leader there.
Hoying, a one-handed set to keep it alive, and Gabrielli can't put it across the net, so the point goes to the Irish, and they now have the lead, 10-9, and that causes a timeout to be called by Andy Feltz for the Stallions.
Just some communication glitches over on the Stallions side. The momentum is now shifting back over to the Irish, which we talked about earlier is what they really need to stay in this match.
Neither team hitting particularly well here early on, but they're trying to almost trying to not make mistakes, and in so doing, mistakes are being made, whether it's service errors or hits that are going out of bounds or even miscommunication like we just saw.
Right, yep, and one-handed setting, and is that a lift or not? You know, let's go, both coaches are probably talking about, let's go back to cleaning up this game. We just need to worry about getting this first ball contact mid-court so that we can have a high hittable ball for our hitters.
Both of these teams have, for the most part, played with their starters the entire time. DeSales has had a few subs. Aaron Tran got a few minutes. Casey Althouse got a few minutes. But St. Vincent-St. Mary has played with the same 7 guys the entire way. 10-9, Irish lead it. Shivers serves. White receives. Hoying with a set. Gabrielli up and down between Shivers and Winters.
That's the point they needed. They've had some service errors, though, prior to this. So Hunsaker, his goal right here is to get the ball inbounds.
10-10 is our score. Hunsaker, as Jackie mentioned, looking to not make a mistake, and instead a mistake was caused, which brings up a free ball. Gabrielli, quick one in the middle. Patterson up and down. Good set by Hoying, and Patterson was equal to that task.
Anytime a free ball comes over, you have to expect that the middle is going to be prepped and ready and expecting the ball. And Zane Patterson was there and put the ball to the floor fast.
Hunsaker for his second serve. It's Winters. Shivers outside. Wyzinski pushes it across. Set to the near side. Gabrielli into the net. Side out to the Irish with the score tied at 11. Riles Guzman to the serving line. Guzman into the net. Didn't want to go long, ended up going short instead. 12-11, Stallions lead it. Gabrielli serves Walters. Outside, Winters up. Received by Fermalon, but he can't do anything with it except send it over and out. 12 all.
Zane Patterson, the middle for the Stallions, missed his blocking assignment. So Winters was one-on-one with Hoying, and even though Hoying is 6'8", that wasn't enough to stop that ball.
Serving error by Walter goes long, so the point goes to the Stallions. It's 13-12.
Number 15, Evan Althouse will serve.
Casey Althouse checks in as number 10, Cameron White, goes to the bench momentarily. Althouse, the senior, Evan, serves and goes just a little bit long on that one.
The glare in the gym here, I keep looking at those balls and thinking they're in, but you know, the referees definitely have a better vantage point than I do. That was close.
Wyziski serves Gabrielli, trying to keep it alive, and they cannot do it. Patterson comes to the sideline, and Hunsaker comes in. As Fermalon goes to the serving line, Stallions lead it 14-13. Guzman, Shivers. Winters into the block by Hoying, and the point goes to the Stallions. They're up 2.
That's a hard ball for Winters. Shivers was running forward and then set forward. Really, in that situation, Shivers should try to find an against the system set, but he's front row, and so there may not have been that option.
Fermalon serves one into the net, so another unforced error, another serving error. And the Stallions lead by 1. Winters to serve. Althouse. That's an ace on a receiving error by Althouse, and we are tied at 15. Winters for the second serve. The toss hits Althouse again. Hoying. They keep it alive. Wyzinski keeps it up. He's going to hit it from the back row. Sends it across. Gabrielli, Hoying, back row. Althouse, point for the Stallions as Evan Althouse from the back row finds the back corner. Here's Cameron Hoying. Walters, back. Wyziski, dug out by Althouse. White off the touch, kept alive. Second ball over by Shivers. Down the line and past Winters for the point.
They just stay consistent. The Stallions just keep doing that pass set spike and trying to find a corner, and if they can't get it in one corner, they're sending it to another.
Timeout taken on the floor by the Irish. One timeout each way, one remaining for each team. The Stallions with a 2-point lead, 17-15.
So the Irish are preparing for all options. We see Shivers, who is the setter. Setters typically block on the right side, but we see him sneaking in and blocking in the middle sometimes. And the reason that's happening is because Althouse has been back row, so they're expecting the pipe to be run. So pay attention to that if you're watching at home, because sometimes they're switching back and forth in that blocking assignment role.
The Irish back on the floor already. Waiting for DeSales. Stallions lead it 17-15. They also leave it with regard to sets 2-1. The Irish need this one to force a 5th and deciding set. Cameron Hoying to the serving line for St. Francis DeSales. Hoying sends it long, and the point goes to the Irish on a side out. Aiden Gaffney to serve. He's had several errors today. See if he changes his approach from the serving line here. He serves Althouse. It's an overpass, and hammering it down is number 10.
Pass too
Jason
tight.
Walter.
Hoying is back row, so there's no way he could have attacked that ball. And he's not allowed to reach over and bring it back over to his side, so the only thing he could do is duck.
Althouse. Big hit in the middle. Nicely done by number 5, Michael Hunsaker that time. 18-17, Stallions on top. Cameron White to serve. Outside, Guzman finds the corner.
And that's the first time we've really said his name in a while, because the Irish have been struggling more on serve receive. They haven't been able to get the ball to Guzman like they need to in order to get a run of points here.
18 all, here's Shivers. White with the reception. Hoying outside, big swing by Althouse, it's out. The Irish take the lead, 19-18. Shivers gets the whistle. The toss, takes a little something off of it and serves White. Bump set to the outside by Hoying. Althouse into the block, and that's down, point for the Irish. And they're up 20-18, and that means a timeout for Andy Feltz.
I like how Shivers, his volleyball IQ is very high. He knows when to turn it on and when to get it in. And he's making a smart decision by staying with the jump float serve versus the big high topspin serve he's done in the past.
Yeah, when that's when you're starting a set, that's a great time to do that. You want to hit it, you want to set a tone, but here, in is more important than flash, and he's making that decision. That's impressive.
Definitely.
Irish lead it by 2, 20-18. You mentioned earlier we hadn't heard Riles Guzman's name in a while. That was only his second kill of this set on 5 attacks, so he's gotten a few opportunities, but he's been kept quiet through set number 4. Right now, though, if he's starting to heat up, this is the perfect time to do it for the Irish.
Absolutely. And you can see them pushing each other around, trying to get that energy back up. As a coach, I'm trying to, if I was in the huddle, I'd be trying to get the adrenaline going again, get that excitement going.
Shivers to serve out of the timeout. The first 2 serves have been well placed. This one in front of White. He pulls it down outside to Althouse. Trying to dig it, but unable to do so is Shivers, and that goes off his chest and out of bounds. The ball comes back to the Stallions. They trail by 1, 20-19. Michael Hunsaker. He serves Winters. Back set. Guzman finds the corner. Really well placed.
What we talked about earlier, as a setter, if you're running forward and you're able to set against the flow, you're going to throw off the blockers on the other team. Very smart set by Shivers.
Guzman with a serve. White comes up with it. Outside, Althouse. Dug up by Walter. Winters with the bump. Guzman across. Fermalon, overpass. Fermalon keeps it alive when it comes right back. Althouse outside, down in front of Guzman.
That's a hard ball to hit. That was coming over his head. He had to follow it until it was in front of him and then made that contact. Phenomenal hit.
Irish lead by 1. Stallions with the serve. Here's Gabrielli. Walters to Shivers. Back. Outside. Back row. Cameron White kept alive. Nicely done. Here's Winters. Pushes it into the block, and that'll be a point for DeSales. Patterson and Hoying were there, and now we're tied at 21.
Back and forth, back and forth. Hoying's in the front row. Expect him to get involved here in the offense. These next few points.
Gabrielli to serve. A serving error right into the net.
It's a bad time for a serving error. Coach Feltz is not happy about that one.
It's a side out, but it also gives the Irish a 1-point lead when there aren't many points to be had in this fourth set. 22-21, Irish lead it. Walters serves Fermalon, big swing, that's down. My goodness gracious, Patterson hit that one with authority.
Man, he loves getting his kills. He's got a face for everything.
Tied at 22. Althouse to serve, the toss. Received by Guzman, Shivers, back set. Wyziski hits it hard, but right into the block, and the point goes to the Stallions, 23-22. Timeout Irish.
Zane Patterson is dominating that net, whether it's on offense or on defense. He controlled that block, and he controls the energy in the gym right now.
And he got a smile from his coach coming off the sideline. Big high five from Coach Feltz, As now the Stallions are in the driver's seat. They lead at 23-22 in this fourth set. If they can close the deal, they will be Division II state champs. Otherwise, a fifth set looms.
I love it when state championship matches go to 5, though.
Let's go, yeah.
We saw that earlier between Liberty and Moeller, and it was just a battle all the way to the end. Even the coaches were rolling around on the ground afterwards because they were so excited.
It was a dandy. Moeller, the Division I state champs, after knocking off Olentangy Liberty 19-25, 16-25, 25-23, 25-23, and 15-13 just a little while ago. Here's Althouse to serve out of the timeout. Guzman, Shivers, back set. Wyziski. Fermalon trying to keep it alive, and they're going to free it across. Guzman. Back set. Wyziski. Too long. And it comes down to this. Stallions 24, Irish 22. Althouse to serve for the state championship. Pushed across, Fermalon. Back row, Althouse, dug out by Walter. Back set, Wyziski, handled by Gabrielli. Back row, Althouse, it's in, point, Stallions. St. Francis DeSales are your 2023 OHSAA Division II State Boys Championship. Two teams lining up in the net, shake hands. And as I watch the Irish walk toward us, there are no tears. They're proud of their effort.
And they should be. They both had a great weekend fighting for this first OHSAA state championship.
Many of these Irish, Guzman, Wyziski, their career is coming to an end right here as state runners-up, but there's a lot of talent still in the cupboard, so to speak, to reload and make another effort coming up in the future. And for a senior-laden DeSales team, this was their chance, and they took advantage of it.
I loved how Hoying, a senior, made sure at the end Althouse had every opportunity to score that last point, who's also a senior.
25-21, 25-27, 17-25, and 25-22. The Stallions, after fighting hard, get the 3-1 victory.
Coach Andy Feltz, been here 5 times, has the state championship now.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Whether he decides to stay with the program or not, it's got to feel good.
It
Being
does have to feel good.
He's been part of the boys team program. He started in 2009. Also part of the girls program.
So we're going to step aside, leave this rolling, and just we'll stop talking so you can hear the sights and sounds of the trophy presentation for each team.